the first time I've ever blocked the swatch. This one over here has been trying to get me to do that for I don't know how long. And I have been resistant. It's like, look, I make swatches. That's all I signed up for. That's what she says.
Hey. And bouncing. But it's okay. It'll stop soon. Hi. This is Skeins Knit and Crochet Podcast, number 90.
You said 8.
Yes, number 98. And I'm Lisa. Hi.
Oh, yeah, it is 98. Yeah, we're good.
You didn't get to do your hi.
Oh, hi. I'm
You
Cryss.
forgot we were recording, didn't you? Can we do that one again?
You don't want to just keep going?
Okay.
This is why I'm not an organized person, because when I try to pretend to be an organized person and consult my list and everything, stuff like this happens. Shenanigans. So, yeah. But it is 98, and hi, I'm Cryss, and let's see how this goes.
All righty. Okay. We're going to take it off the top now. Hi there. If you enjoy our podcast, please like and subscribe. It really makes Mom happy.
That's my line.
All right, then. I thought I could share that line.
But then...
Okay, never mind.
We'll talk about that off camera.
Yeah.
We're not going to go like full Monty right now, okay? But...
Okay, I'm going to start with what's coming up, like, soon. I'm going to be teaching, like a grown-up, at Vogue Knitting that is occurring October 27th through 29th. I have 2 classes going on. I will be leading
Bind Off Loosely.
Bind Off Loosely, yes I will. And Sweater Savvy, make a first sweater that fits. Because we are all about making sweaters that fit us and we're happy to wear. I am wearing today my Weekender sweater that I finished in June and just was able to pull out and start wearing. I'm so excited. It was so hot by the time I finished this sweater, but I knew the cold would come back. What are you wearing today, Cryss? This gorgeous vest.
I don't remember what it named.
You called it a janky vest.
Did I call it janky vest?
Yes, you did.
Oh.
You sure did call it janky vest.
Okay, well, janky vest. This is my first mosaic project, and it went really well. Once I learned how to read a mosaic chart, because the whole issue was me. It really was. My first mosaic project, it was a hat. It was very stressful, but it was just me. But once I learned how to read a mosaic chart, things went very well. And this is Hope Made Yarn Co. And this is Garden Party, Moss, and something else.
I don't remember the code.
And trimmed out in Angora lace.
Something about kisses?
That's why I said something else, because I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, and my sweater is in All Reliable Berroco Ultra Wool.
I'm using some Ultra Wool right now.
Mm-hmm. Tell me about that.
We'll talk about that. But go ahead, talk about your socks.
Well, I've got socks not quite going yet, but on the way to going. So I have my yarn. This is a beautiful 75-25 sock yarn that I got from Alma Park.
I really like those colors together.
Oh, I love it. It's called Wild Horses, and it was part of her Persimmon Hill Yarn Club. And this is also Hope Made Yarn Co. in red wine. And I thought these would be just beautiful together. And these are going to be my birthday socks. So I'm doing Scorpio colors and
which
Scorpio
is your main
color
and which
work.
is your accent?
This is going to be my main, and this is going to be my accent. So I was thinking, you guys saw my mood board last week. I have basically a color block sock with a couple of stripes and a border of color work inside. So I decided that since my stripes I was going to do some color work, I thought I would do my stripes in a simple sort of color work too. So I'm thinking maybe I will do my stripes something like this.
And what book is that?
This is Colorwork Stitches, over 250 designs to knit is the Harmony Guides from Interweave, and it was edited by Susie Johns. But just all sorts of really fun colorwork designs are available to you. Yeah. And it goes from really complicated looking to super simple. So,
complicated looking or complicated?
No, complicated looking, because
okay.
color work is not that complicated. But just something fun to give some interest to my stripes. So that's where I am. I have not actually cast the sock on. Can I bring my tray? I thought I picked up my foot model in the tray.
Oh, we're back to the foot model.
Yes, because I've decided that I really liked making one long sock.
I know, I thought that was going to be your new thing.
I thought it was hilarious, but I want to do it from the toe up so I can use my foot model and not have to swatch for the sock. So I'm going to do the same one long sock technique, but this time from the toe up, and I will determine the size based on my foot model.
Interesting.
So my plan is to start at a toe, knit a foot, knit a leg.
So when you did the other sock, you did like a lifeline to mark where your heel would be and where you were going to cut it.
Right.
So
I'll
how are you
use
going to
that same
measure?
technique. Well, I will use my foot model on the first sock, on the first
to know where the
heel was going to go, and I'll match that placement on the other end. I'm going to knit it toe to toe, actually. And when I cut the sock, I'll just have to knit 2 cuffs, 2 heels.
You going wild, girl.
I am. Knitter's going wild.
I don't know her. I don't
No.
never seen
I was in college in
my
my
life.
90s. What can I tell you? So that's what's going to be going on. So probably later today, I am going to cast on the toe of my sock. That way I'll know how many stitches I'm working with. And once I do that, I'll make a little pattern on my colorwork paper for my fundal stripes and my colorwork, and I'll be ready to go.
It's going to be fascinating. I knit socks vicariously through Lisa.
Yes, yes she does.
We're embarking on a whole new adventure.
She's fascinated by the knitting of socks, but she does not want to crochet socks at all.
No.
She tried crocheting socks one time and almost fell into a kind of depression, like, oh God, I hate this.
A lot. And then the whole time I'm thinking I have to do all of this again. And
well, that's part of what's exciting me about making one long sock. You just go.
Yeah, but that involves cutting, and that's another stressful thing for me. So yeah, there's just no safe sock for me.
You know what? I liked it. I liked cutting the sock. That was
I thought about
really
like
thrilling.
a tube sock, but like, is that gonna like slip or something? I don't know.
Give it a try, because people do recommend making tube socks for children. So I don't see why it couldn't work for an adult. And now that we have sock yarn with nylon built in, it's not even that you're going to get a lot of
So
rubbing
would
and
you
wear
like,
the sock
if
out.
you make a tube sock, would you want to use like negative ease so it's a little smaller than?
Yes, you always, for any sock, you want to use a little negative ease. You don't need a lot, maybe 5-10%.
Now, you know what? I'm not going to get my head turned again. Nope.
You can do it.
I don't make socks.
Sock makers out there, let her know how fun it is.
Okie dokie. Is it me now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Go for it.
So I'm now making my step hem skirt. And I had started, well, first I finished my sides. We've got lots of strings, but I finished my sides. So this is one whole side. And what I did was I stitched 4 rows down either side after my squares were joined, because I just think that looks nice.
Yeah.
So I have 2 of these. And I really love this particular granny square. I love where the open parts are situated. This is gonna need some ironing. I'm not very careful with my project parts while I'm working, so they get stuffed in the bag, and sometimes the iPad gets shoved on top of them. So this will look better down the road, but I'm aware.
Oh, you should have seen how they look when you first unpinned them when you were from the block. Oh,
did we put a picture on Instagram?
We did.
We might have.
We did, but I'll tuck that picture in here. They look so good.
And so this is my blocked square for the front and back of the skirt. So if you remember when I blocked these, they grew a little bit. This grew much less, but I knew I had to block this because I wanted to know if I was going to have like a repeat of this situation over here. But no, it's fine. However, I realized that blocking ultra wool gives it a little something special, like a scented resume.
If you know what that refers to, let us know in the comments. If you know, you know.
But this is all extended single crochet, and it feels really good. And I'm just like, because when we had our store, Lisa was like, okay, we need a yarn that's just like our basic workhorse yarn. And she picked ultra wool. I was not sold on it, and I made this shawl out of it because I want to like try to accustom myself to this yarn. And I was still like, but we're gonna sell it. But now that I did this, I'm like, I think I need to block that shawl. Because I think it's going to like feel really good. So I will block the shawl and give y'all some updates. But this is gonna be the front and the back of the skirt. And so I just did my schematic and figured out like what size that needs to be. And it's somewhere in this bag. Here we go. And this is the beginning of one panel of the skirt.
Nice.
And it's actually, DK weight yarn. It's going pretty darn quickly. So I did, this is going to be almost a third of the skirt, just under a third. And I did this in one sitting. So I don't think this is going to take terribly long, and I'm really happy and really excited. And she's just going. So I used for my gauge my blocked swatch measurements because I am going to block this, and so I want to have an idea of what to expect. But this is the first time I've ever blocked the swatch. This one over here has been trying to get me to do that for I don't know how long. And I have been resistant. It's like, look, I make swatches. That's all I signed up for. That's what she says. So, but she wants me to block them and launder them and measure them and all kinds of things. And I'm just like, me and my swatch ain't that tight, all right? But like I said, this scared me because it grew so much. So I was like, let me just make sure my skirt gonna fit. So this is my first ever blocked swatch. So we'll see how that works out in terms of the overall fit of the skirt. And that is where I am. So this is ultra wool. The color number is 8301. So the colors have names on the website, but not and that's so annoying. Yeah. But yeah, so look up 8301 and see what they call it. But it's an off-white. But look how it looks next to that.
That is so pretty together.
What? Come on.
Wow.
Come on. So I think this is going to be really cute, and I'm really excited.
I like how the granny square next to that is giving two different textures that are playing together. That is really neat. What size did your granny squares end up when you finally put the border on them and everything?
The whole thing, the width is 6 inches now.
Okay. But what trips me out is that you could have made them 6 inches if you wanted to.
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh, scary.
Yeah. Because wool is a lie. But that's okay. It's okay. As long as you know that going into it, you ready.
It tells the same lie every time.
Exactly. So that's how my skirt is going, and I'm very happy, and I'd like to finish it quickly because I'm already ready to work on the next thing, but Focus. But that is what is up with me.
I have finished the knitting on my skirt. So let me tell you the tale of the last 2 rows of this skirt. The literal last 2 rows. So I'm knitting away, right? The skirt has 12 sections in it. Each section, in the last 2 rows, each section has 49 stitches and the next row has 50 stitches. You can do the math. So I had wound a ball of yarn and I was hoping I'd be able to finish with that ball, but no. So I stopped winding the ball of yarn again because the last round ended up something with like 600 or so stitches. And then I had to bind off that row. So knitting the last row, 600 stitches, binding off the row, 600 stitches. That's 1,200 stitches right there.
And she kept counting along the way. So like as she did each section, she'd be like, okay, I've done 200 stitches. I've done 300 stitches. And I'm just like, stop doing that.
You know, it was motivating me to continue.
Because I was like, that's no good.
It felt like the never-ending bind-off. I swear it did. I ended up, though, using the Icelandic bind-off because the skirt has... Let me turn this over. I'm being a little gingerly because I'm working on the waistband right now, and I have about 1,000 pins in there. The skirt has a band of garter stitch on the end, and I love how the Icelandic bind off works with garter stitch to just look like the garter stitch came out of nowhere and disappeared into nowhere. But I'll put a good picture of that up close. But the knitting is finally done. Dun, 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 dun. Sorry, I got pins. I gotta be careful. So the hem is flounced.
I really like how this came out. And I love what the yarn is doing.
Oh yeah. I think the yarn, it just added something.
That's really nice.
So now I am pinning. I had bought, I don't know if you guys remember this, but a few weeks ago, I hit a sale on elastic at Joann's. Oops, my pin got caught. So I bought a whole bunch of waistband elastic in different colors and slightly different widths. So I put this around my waist, sewed it closed on my sewing machine, and now I'm pinning the circle of elastic to the waistband, stretching slightly to get it to match up with the waistband. I did a flip through of this book. If you're only going to get one knitting manual, get this one.
Get the ultimate knitting book.
Yes, the ultimate knitting book. Not only is it's fairly complete, it has a lot of nice features that just enable you to find things very easily. So I'm using one of the 3 methods they have for installing elastic in this book. You want to learn how to install a zipper. So I am doing the herringbone method, which means basically I pin the waistband to the fabric on the inside of the fabric, and then I'm going to sew a stitch that goes across the waistband, and that thread is going to hold the waistband onto the skirt. And my skirt has a flap that I can fold down and cover all the works up, so it's just going to have a very clean, neat finish. But if I didn't want to fold over, I could just leave it just like that, or cover it with a ribbon or something if I really wanted to enclose it. But right on the next page, how to make your own shoulder pads for knitted garments. Oh,
There you go.
there you go.
I was like, is that a shoulder pad? I would not
3 different kinds of shoulder
knit or
pads.
crochet a shoulder pad. I kind of don't like shoulder pads anyway, but I can't see myself making one.
But
That seems like a lot of effort.
if you wanted to,
I know, but
You could.
why would you do that?
Let's say you wanted to really shape the shoulder of a jacket you were going to wear. See, you have...
So you would make a shoulder pad for like a sewn garment. You wouldn't knit something and then knit a shoulder pad.
Not necessarily. But
okay,
if you
so you're just knitting a shoulder. Okay,
right,
I see that.
Because
I was like, once I did all that knitting, now I got to knit the shoulder pad now.
And because it wouldn't need to be stuffed, you could make it, a double fabric, and there you go.
That is some comprehensive mess right there.
So, if you're gonna get one, this is a good one. I have a couple, and this is the one I go to all the time.
I've never seen a crochet shoulder pad in a book, and I'm just like, why don't we get that? I feel away.
Girl, you could look at that and crochet a shoulder pad if you wanted to.
But like, why don't people talk to us like we're actually
making garments?
Exactly.
Right? I can't speak to everywhere because I see crochet garments on the Instagram and Pinterest of other countries, but I don't see as much garment making here. And I think that's really the bottom line.
That hexagon cardigan, like, there's enough of that. Like, we can all move on now.
Well,
and you know what the thing is this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so making a hexagon and doing some sort of origami to make it a jacket is a cool idea. But why does everyone have to do granny stripe? Once you know how to just make a hexagon, once you know how to fold your hexagon, you can make a hexagon with any stitch pattern. Why is everyone still using granny stripe? Why don't you just do your own version of that with any stitch pattern you like? That's where I get like frustrated because it's literally the exact same thing over and over and over again. Like, let's do better, y'all. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
That's all you're saying?
That's all I'm saying.
So when I get the waistband installed, I've already woven in my ends, by the way.
Ooh.
I wove them in as soon as I finished the knitting.
I still had on this. Mom was tucking them in.
But you know what? I may not go back to it to weave in ends. So usually while I'm still in the heat, I weave in ends as soon as I'm done knitting or as I go. When I do weave in ends on cotton though, I don't always trust that the cotton is going to hold the way wool will hold. So what I like to do is I weave in the ends traditionally, following the garter stitch pattern on the inside of the skirt. But then I will also go a few more stitches, just looping the thread ends in to the tops of stitches. And then I'll leave a little bit, maybe 1/4 of an inch, and I put a little spin on it and twist it into a little ball. And that I trust to stay in. Because when we weave in ends in wool meshes onto itself, kind of like Velcro, and cotton doesn't. So I take a little precaution, and I have been tying knots all through this skirt. No knots in knitting. Balderdash! Okay. So I haven't weighed the skirt yet, so I don't know exactly how many skeins of yarn I used for it. I had 17 when I started.
Oh.
And I'm not sure how many I have because, like I said, I had some unexpected.
But you still have enough to do your top.
I think so. I think at the very least, I'll be able to do a tank top. And I think it'll be kind of cool because it will wear like a dress. But that's where I'm at. Pinning the elastic into the waistband. Once it's all pinned, I will.
Now, what thread are you use to do your elastic?
You know what? This is a worsted weight yarn. So what I think I'm going to do is get some, I have embroidery floss that will match this. And I'll do the herringbone thing in the embroidery floss. Just because it's a little lighter weight, but I'll use all 6 strands of it so that it's nice and solid. But that's the exciting developments for today. I'm thrilled. I'm happy and thrilled. Oh, and you know what? I want to do a project over the winter in mosaic knitting. I'm still kind of cogitating on it right now. So I was looking through my stitch dictionaries, and there's so little mosaic knitting stitches in. I have a couple of stitch dictionaries, okay? Let's just say that. But very few of them.
Million.
You're wrong for that, but okay. But there's hardly any mosaic.
But would that be in the general stitch dictionary? Wouldn't you need to buy a mosaic one, or at least color workbook?
I have a couple of color workbooks, and I assumed that there would be at least, a little bit. One of my stitch dictionaries, I think it had exactly 2 mosaic patterns, and I was like, well, gee whiz. And one is kind of a project book, and that had, I think, 1 mosaic stitch pattern. So if anybody knows of a good mosaic stitch dictionary, let me know in the comments, okay? Because I'm shopping for a mosaic stitch dictionary now. Because what I want to do is something sort of like a herringbone, or maybe just a continuous pattern. But I don't want to do it in stranded color work because I want to maintain the elasticity of the fabric. And I was just a little disappointed because the big book of stitch knitting patterns and 201 knitting projects and motifs and my harmony guide didn't really have much to say. And my harmony guide...
But I was wondering, like, is mosaic knitting as popular as mosaic crochet? Because it seems like y'all mostly do stranded. Y'all do Fair Isle and we do mosaic. At least I do mosaic because it's...
She wasn't having that Fair Isle nonsense.
It was much easier.
There was Fair Isle crochet, but she
what
really
I
was
want
not
to
having
do
that
is
nonsense.
try to design my own mosaic pattern. Because I'm wondering... if you just draw your picture on a grid, is it already its own pattern, or are there certain considerations you have to make sure your stitches will go where they belong? Or I don't know how this works.
I don't know how Fair Isle crochet works. Are we
Mosaic?
talking Fair Isle mosaic? Okay, no, then I can't speak to that because I have a better understanding of Fair Isle. But mostly it seems that you just draw your pattern onto graph paper.
That is my assumption.
And the only thing is, I know with knitting, we don't use regular square graph paper because the stitches are a little bit fatter than they are tall. So what you want to do is get a graph paper that represents your stitches shape well. Otherwise, your pattern can come out a little distorted because of the shape. But there's a crochet graph paper that's out there. You can probably just print some off, as a matter of fact.
I'm curious. I'm like, am I there yet? Having done my one project?
You're absolutely
Or should I do a little more from a book? Or I don't know. But I've had mosaic on my mind. Don't ask me when I'm going to get to it because y'all saw the mini cue, right?
And that's just the mini cue.
That's just the mini cue.
You have not revealed the full cue to
us. Let's not do that.
It's okay. I'm already thinking ahead. That's why I'm looking for the mosaic stitch dictionary, because I'm thinking ahead after the 2 projects I have planned for now to the project I want to work on over the course of the winter, which involves several pieces and colors. I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm going to recycle yarn that I had planned for something else into the project because I think I like it more. And that's what's going on with me.
Yeah. We're always buzzing.
Bzz.
Really?
Have we hit our limits?
I think so. I don't know. I don't know what's happening anymore. I don't know why it's always like this. You know, there was this show that used to be on PBS and it was just like a political roundtable.
Mm-hmm.
I forget, was it McLaughlin Report?
It might have been.
Yeah, and it was all very serious and very mature. And I was like, that's how I picture each episode in my head before we start filming. Like, we're just going to have a discussion about knitting and crochet and best practices and what we're learning. And then...
Oh, speaking of best practices, we were talking about something yesterday.
Were we?
Metric. Yeah. Tell us what you think about this.
It's just that, I'm still trying to figure out why sometimes there's discrepancies between my swatch gauge and my project gauge. And I was wondering, would it make a difference? I feel like maybe it shouldn't, but then I don't know. If I was measuring in centimeters instead of inches, just because a centimeter is a little more finely calibrated, broken up into 10 millimeters, whereas an inch is broken up into eighths instead of tenths. So I thought, would I be getting a little bit closer to an accurate measurement if I used centimeters? So it's too late for this project. But my next thing, which will probably be Autumn-tacular Fall Explosion, that's just going to be basic rectangles. So this will be where I put this to the test. I'm going to see how it goes if I do all of my measurements for the whole project in centimeters.
Now, it's interesting that you had that thought, because I had the same thought. And I was like, maybe I should switch to centimeters, simply because I feel like it makes the math easier. Because when I'm working in eighths and sixteenths and all of that, I convert all that to decimal anyway. I don't work in fractions. I work in decimals. So if we start out decimalized, it's one less place for me to make a mistake, in my math at least, because a tiny mistake gets repeated every inch or every centimeter.
So that I don't know, if some of you maybe already do measure in centimeters, so let us know if you feel like you have less problems with gauge using centimeters. But yeah, I would like to hear any speculation you might have on this subject, because this is just something I just made up in my head. I'm just troubleshooting because I keep having this problem where sometimes my gauge is off. We'll see. I don't know.
The only other thing I found that made a real difference in my gauge was making my swatches big. The bigger my swatch, the more accurate a measurement I got.
Yeah, I feel like that hasn't always held true for me. Like sometimes I make a big swatch and it still just be all.
Well, you know what? Sometimes you got to experiment.
That's why I keep saying the whole swatching thing is more art than science.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I just need to stop expecting it to be exact, because there will just always be these small variations. I may be stitching differently and not even realizing it. Like, do I stitch one way when I'm watching TV versus when I'm not? I don't know. Because I'm splitting my attention.
Yeah.
So this is just an experiment I'm going to conduct, and I will let you all know how it goes.
You know what? I will try it on my next project too, that I will be swatching for. I'm not going to swatch for my socks.
See, this is the McLaughlin thing. Look at that. That was all like serious and grown up, right? That's what I was imagining. That's just not what we do. We are a clown car.
A little bit. It's fun in here though. I like it.
But see, that's what I'm talking about, that we don't do.
Just did it.
Right. Yeah. So we're capable of it.
There you go.
Just don't expect it.
All the time. Too much. But anyway, I think that's it from me.
I think so too.
See you next week.
Stay stitching.